Part 1, the silent danger and first critical step. Before we dive in, let me quickly say this. If you find this video helpful, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends or loved ones. Your small action not only helps our channel grow, but it might also help save someone's life by spreading this vital information. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell, so you won't miss any of our upcoming health and safety guides. Have you ever wondered what you would do if a heart attack struck and you were alone? It's a frightening scenario that many people never imagine until it's too late. We often think, I'll have time, or, surely someone will be around to help me. But the reality is different. Many heart attacks happen suddenly, without warning, and often when no one else is present. In those moments, the difference between life and death isn't luck, it's knowledge and preparation. The truth is that the first few minutes of a heart attack are absolutely critical. What you do, or fail to do, can decide whether you survive long enough to get proper treatment. The encouraging news is that you can survive a heart attack alone, but only if you remain calm and take the right actions immediately. This isn't about having advanced medical training or expensive equipment. It's about understanding the signals your body sends and knowing what steps to take, step by step, until help arrives. So in this series, we'll explore 7 life-saving measures that anyone, even someone living completely alone, can take the moment a heart attack strikes. And in this first part, we'll focus on the earliest stage, the warning signs, and why recognizing them without hesitation is the very first step to survival. Why recognition is everything. Most people think of a heart attack the way it's portrayed in movies. A person suddenly clutches their chest, gasps dramatically, and collapses. While that can happen, the majority of heart attacks begin far more quietly. The body whispers before it screams. And if you learn to listen to those whispers, you can act before permanent damage occurs. The earliest symptoms often don't feel dramatic. Instead, they might feel like a heavy pressure in the middle of the chest, almost as if someone is pressing down with a weight. A squeezing, burning, or fullness that comes and goes. Shortness of breath that doesn't match your activity, you feel winded even when sitting still. Discomfort spreading to the shoulder, arm, neck, jaw, or back. Unexplained nausea, dizziness, or breaking into a cold sweat. Sudden and overwhelming fatigue that feels unusual. And here's something important. Not all heart attacks feel the same. Women, older adults, and people with diabetes are especially likely to experience atypical symptoms such as back pain, stomach pain, or unusual tiredness rather than the classic chest pain. A story to remember. Take the example of Margaret, age 76. She was sitting in her living room reading when she felt a dull ache in her upper back. At first, she thought it was her arthritis acting up. But then she noticed she couldn't quite catch her breath, and sweat began forming on her forehead. Instead of brushing it off, she remembered something her doctor had once said: not all heart attacks start in the chest. Margaret called emergency services right away. Later, her cardiologist told her that recognizing the symptoms so quickly may have prevented irreversible damage to her heart muscle. Her story highlights a key truth: acting early is the best chance you have. Why people miss the warning signs. One of the biggest dangers is denial. Many people convince themselves it's just indigestion, a pulled muscle, or stress. They delay hoping the feeling will pass. Unfortunately, every minute of delay increases the amount of heart tissue that may be permanently damaged. Another problem is embarrassment. Some people hesitate to call for help because they don't want to cause a fuss, or be wrong. But let me be clear, it's always better to be safe than sorry. Medical professionals would much rather respond to a false alarm than arrive too late to save a life. Think of it this way: ignoring the signs could cost you everything, but making the call might cost you only a few minutes of embarrassment. Which risk is greater? What you should do the moment symptoms begin. If you feel any combination of the warning signs we just described, here's what you must do immediately. Stop what you're doing. Don't try to finish chores, grab your laundry, or tidy up. Sit down or stay where you are. Every bit of exertion makes your heart's job harder. Acknowledge the seriousness. Don't dismiss it as nothing. Treat it as urgent until proven otherwise. Remember, hesitation is dangerous. Prepare to call emergency services. This will be our next step in part 2, but even before you dial, get your phone within reach. If you feel dizzy or weak, you want it in your hand, not across the room. Your first job is to listen. Your body has an incredible way of signaling distress, but those signals are only helpful if you take them seriously. Think of it like a smoke alarm. The first soft beep might not seem like much, but it's your chance to act before the fire grows out of control. If you ignore the warning signs, waiting for the dramatic collapse, you may already be too late. But if you act on the subtle symptoms, you give yourself the greatest possible chance of survival. Practical preparation. Since heart attacks often strike without warning, preparation matters. Here are a few things you can do today to make recognition and response easier. Write down the symptoms and keep them in a visible place like your fridge or nightstand. When panic sets in, memory can fail. Keep your phone close at all times, not across the house. Even better, learn how to use your phone's emergency call shortcut. Tell a trusted friend or neighbor about your risk. Even if you live alone, someone nearby who knows what to watch for can be a lifeline. Trust your instincts. If something feels off in your body and you can't explain it, act as if it could be serious. Final thoughts for part 1. Recognizing the first signs of a heart attack is the foundation of survival. Everything else, calling for help, taking aspirin, slowing your breathing, depends on this one critical step: noticing the signals and not ignoring them. Think of it like seeing storm clouds before the rain. If you take shelter early, you're safe. If you wait until the flood is on you, it may be too late. So here's your takeaway from part 1. When in doubt, treat unusual chest pressure, breathlessness, or sudden fatigue as urgent. Don't brush it off. Don't wait to see if it passes. Awareness is power, and in this case, it may be the very thing that keeps your heart beating long enough for help to arrive. Part 2. Making the call and securing your safety. If you haven't already, please remember to like, subscribe, and share this video. It may sound simple, but every time you share, you could be passing along information that one day saves someone's life. Now let's get back to our vital discussion. The first action after recognition. In part 1, we talked about the importance of noticing the earliest warning signs of a heart attack and not dismissing them. Now that you've recognized something serious is happening, the next step is clear and non-negotiable. Call emergency services immediately. Do not wait to see if the discomfort fades. Do not assume it's nothing. And do not attempt to drive yourself to the hospital. The very first thing you must do is dial your country's emergency number. 911 in the US, 112 in Europe, 15 in France, 999 in the UK, or whatever applies in your location. Why calling immediately matters: heart attacks are caused by a blockage that prevents blood from reaching a portion of your heart muscle. The longer that blockage remains, the more tissue dies. Every single minute counts. In fact, doctors say time is muscle. When you call for help right away, trained professionals are dispatched immediately. They bring equipment and medications you cannot provide yourself. If your condition worsens suddenly, such as your heart stopping, they can perform life-saving interventions right on the spot. If you delay calling, you rob yourself of these advantages. And if you try to handle it alone, you risk collapsing where no one can help you. The dangerous temptation to wait. Many people hesitate to call emergency services for 3 common reasons. They don't want to overreact. They think it might just be gas, indigestion, or stress. They don't want to bother anyone. They feel guilty about tying up emergency lines if it's not serious enough. They think they can get there faster. They grab their keys and try to drive themselves. But all 3 of these are dangerous mistakes. A short delay can make the difference between walking out of the hospital and never making it there. Emergency responders would rather arrive to find you safe than arrive too late. A story of survival. Consider the case of Robert, age 70. One morning he felt tightness in his chest and thought, maybe it's just indigestion. He nearly decided to wait it out. But then he remembered his doctor's advice: if you think it could be your heart, call first, sort it out later. He called 911 immediately. By the time the ambulance arrived, Robert's condition had worsened. But because help was already on the way, he was stabilized and transported without delay. His cardiologist later told him, if you had waited another 10 minutes, the outcome could have been much worse. Why driving yourself is risky. It may feel quicker to grab your car keys and head straight to the hospital. But this is one of the most dangerous choices you could make. You may lose consciousness while driving, endangering not only yourself but others on the road. Even if you make it, you'll arrive without medical support along the way. In most areas, ambulances are equipped to begin treatment before you ever reach the hospital. So here's the rule: never drive yourself during a suspected heart attack. If you're alone, the phone is your lifeline. How to make the call effectively. When you dial emergency services, stay calm and provide clear information. Your exact location. Give your address and any details to help responders find you quickly. If you live in an apartment, mention the unit number or entry instructions. Your symptoms. Describe what you feel: chest pressure, shortness of breath, dizziness, nausea. The clearer you are, the better prepared the responders will be. Any relevant medical history. If you have known heart disease, diabetes, or take specific medications, share that briefly. If you are alone, let them know there's no one else with you. This alerts them to move quickly and prepare for a patient without support. Once you've given the essential details, stay on the line if possible. The dispatcher can guide you through steps while help is on the way. After the call, what comes next? Once you've called emergency services, the next steps are about keeping yourself as stable as possible until help arrives. Think of it as buying time for your heart. Stay still and minimize movement. Walking around, gathering belongings, or pacing only increases strain on your heart. Sit down or lie in a safe position. Unlock your front door if possible. This makes it easier for paramedics to reach you quickly. If it feels unsafe to walk, skip this step. Your safety comes first. Keep your phone near. Put it on speaker mode so your hands are free and you can focus on steady breathing. The power of preparation. You can make this process smoother by preparing today. Here are a few things you can do right now. Program emergency numbers into your phone's favorites list. Learn your phone's emergency shortcut. Many smartphones allow you to dial 911 or your country's emergency number with just a few taps. Post your address near the phone. In moments of panic, even familiar details can slip your mind. Set up your medical ID. Include your medications, allergies, and emergency contact. Paramedics can access this even if your phone is locked. A lesson from Linda. Linda, age 78, was at home when she felt sudden heaviness in her left arm and jaw. She almost called her daughter first but stopped herself. She remembered something a nurse had once told her: call 911 first. Family can wait. Every minute matters. She followed that advice. By the time her daughter arrived at the hospital, Linda was already stabilized and receiving treatment. Her quick decision made the difference. Final thoughts for part 2. Recognizing the symptoms is the first step, but making the call is the lifeline. Without this action, every other measure, aspirin, rest, breathing control, may not be enough. The moment you suspect a heart attack, dial emergency services. Stay calm and provide clear information. Let professionals come to you instead of trying to reach them yourself. Remember, you don't need to be 100% certain it's a heart attack to make the call. Even trained doctors don't always know without tests, but hesitation could cost you your life. So the key takeaway is this: call first, question later. That one decision might be the reason you get a second chance at life. Part 3: Immediate steps after the call. Aspirin positioning and staying calm. Before we dive in, I want to remind you to like this video, subscribe to Elderly Wisdom, and share it with family and friends. These small actions may one day save someone's life, perhaps even your own. Why the moments after calling are critical. So far, we've covered 2 life-saving steps: recognizing the symptoms of a heart attack and calling emergency services without delay. But once the call is made, your job isn't over yet. The minutes before professional help arrives are often the most dangerous. This is when complications can strike. Your heart rhythm may become unstable, your chest pain may worsen, or you may suddenly feel faint. That's why what you do after making the call is just as important as recognizing the symptoms. These are the small, immediate actions that can keep your heart alive long enough for doctors to treat the blockage. Step 1. Chew an aspirin. If you have aspirin within reach and you are not allergic to it, take 1 regular strength aspirin, about 325 milligrams, and chew it slowly. Why chewing? Because swallowing the pill whole takes longer to absorb into your bloodstream. Chewing breaks it down quickly so the aspirin can start working almost immediately. Aspirin helps by thinning your blood. This makes it harder for the clot that is blocking your artery to grow bigger, and sometimes it even helps blood flow past the blockage until doctors can open it fully. Important notes: only take aspirin if it's readily available. Do not waste precious minutes searching for it. Do not take more than 1 tablet. 1 is enough if you are on a medication like warfarin or another prescribed blood thinner. You can still take aspirin unless your doctor has specifically warned you not to. Why aspirin isn't always mentioned first. You might wonder, if aspirin is so important, why don't we start with it before calling 911? The answer is simple: timing. Aspirin is helpful, but it cannot replace professional treatment. If you take aspirin but delay calling for help, you've lost the most important part of your defense. That's why the order is crucial. Call for help. Then take aspirin if available. Step 2: find the right position. Once you've taken aspirin, your next task is to position your body in a way that reduces strain on your heart. Movement increases the oxygen your heart needs, but during a heart attack, your heart is already starved of oxygen. The safest position is: sit down in a comfortable, upright position, either in a sturdy chair or propped up against pillows. Keep your back supported. Bend your knees slightly if lying back, which reduces pressure on your heart. Avoid lying completely flat. This can make breathing harder. And avoid standing or walking around, as that puts unnecessary stress on your heart. Think of this as energy conservation. Your heart is working harder than ever, and every bit of calm stillness helps it survive. Step 3: loosen tight clothing. It may seem like a small detail, but loosening tight clothing, especially around your chest, waist, or neck, can make it easier to breathe. If you wear belts, ties, or snug collars, take a moment to adjust them. Comfort supports relaxation, and relaxation lowers strain. Step 4: stay calm and control breathing. Panic is natural during a heart attack, but panic also speeds up your heart rate and makes things worse. The goal is to keep yourself as calm as possible until help arrives. A simple breathing technique can help. Close your eyes. Take a slow, gentle breath in through your nose for about 4 seconds. Hold for 1 second. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. This rhythm helps lower stress hormones and keeps oxygen flowing steadily to your body. Why calmness saves lives. Staying calm doesn't just make you feel better. It physically helps your heart. Stress hormones like adrenaline can trigger dangerous heart rhythms during a heart attack. By controlling your breath and focusing on calm thoughts, you give your heart a better chance to keep beating steadily. A real-life example: Maria's story. Maria, age 74, was alone one afternoon when she suddenly felt crushing pressure in her chest. She remembered her doctor's advice: call first, then chew an aspirin. She dialed 911, chewed 1 tablet, and sat in her armchair, leaning slightly forward. She later said, "I wanted to run around gathering things, but I forced myself to stay still. I just kept breathing slowly until the paramedics arrived." Her doctors told her that her calmness and quick aspirin use gave her the extra minutes she needed before they could open the blocked artery. Step 5. Prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. If you feel faint, dizzy, or as though you might lose consciousness, don't ignore it. Try to slide yourself to the floor or a soft surface if possible so that if you do collapse, you won't fall hard or injure yourself further. If you're with someone else, ask them to stay nearby and watch for any changes. If you're alone, keep the phone on speaker and in reach. Dispatchers are trained to guide you, even through CPR instructions if needed. Small choices that make a big difference. Let's pause and reflect. None of these steps require medical equipment. None require special training. They are small, simple choices: chewing an aspirin, sitting upright with support, loosening tight clothing, breathing slowly and steadily, preparing yourself safely if you feel faint. And yet, these small steps can bridge the gap between life and death in the minutes before professional help arrives. A reminder about what not to do. During this time, there are also a few things you should avoid. Do not eat or drink anything except aspirin. Food can complicate emergency treatment. Do not try to drive. We covered this in part 2, but it's worth repeating. Do not ignore worsening symptoms. If pain spreads or you feel lightheaded, stay on the phone with emergency services and tell them what's happening. Final thoughts for part 3. The period between calling for help and the ambulance arriving may feel endless. But these are the minutes when your calm, clear actions matter most. So remember, chew one aspirin. If it's nearby and you're not allergic, sit upright with support, keep strain off your heart, loosen clothing for easier breathing. Stay calm and breathe steadily. Your heart needs calmness as much as oxygen. Prepare safely if you feel faint. These are not complicated steps, but they are powerful steps. And they could make the difference between arriving at the hospital alive and never making it there at all. If you found this part helpful, drop a comment saying, "Stay calm, stay strong." And please like, subscribe, and share so this knowledge reaches more people who might need it. Part 4: When collapse happens. CPR, bystander help, and survival mindset. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you once again to like, subscribe, and share this video. Knowledge only saves lives when it is shared, and your small action could make a big difference for someone you care about. Facing the worst-case scenario, we've talked about recognizing symptoms, calling for help, and taking steps to stabilize yourself while waiting. But sometimes, despite every precaution, the heart can stop suddenly. This is known as cardiac arrest, and it is different from a heart attack, though the two are closely linked. During a heart attack, blood flow to part of the heart is blocked. During cardiac arrest, the heart stops beating effectively altogether. The person collapses, loses consciousness, and may stop breathing. When this happens, every second counts even more urgently. Without immediate action, the brain begins to suffer damage within just 4 to 6 minutes. But with quick response, lives can and are saved every single day. If you are alone and collapse, if you are alone and you feel like you are about to faint or collapse, try to take these steps quickly. Call emergency services first if you haven't already. Keep the phone on speaker. Lie down on the floor rather than remaining standing. This way, if you lose consciousness, you won't fall and injure yourself further. Position yourself on your back with your knees bent if possible. This can make it easier for circulation. Unfortunately, if full collapse occurs when you are completely alone, there is little more you can do for yourself. This is why it's so important to always make that emergency call early, to give responders the best chance to reach you in time if you are with someone who collapses. This is where the role of bystanders becomes critical. Imagine you are sitting with a loved one and suddenly they clutch their chest, collapse, and stop responding. What you do in the next few seconds can be the difference between life and death. Here are the essential steps. Check responsiveness. Tap their shoulder firmly and shout their name. If they do not respond, move to step 2. Call emergency services immediately. Put the phone on speaker so you can use your hands while the dispatcher gives instructions. Check breathing. Look for normal breathing. Occasional gasping is not real breathing. If they are not breathing normally, begin CPR. CPR basics for everyone. You don't need to be a doctor to perform CPR. Even a few minutes of chest compressions can double or triple a person's chance of survival. Here's the simplest method, recommended for untrained bystanders. Place the heel of one hand on the center of the chest. Between the nipples, put your other hand on top and interlock your fingers. Position yourself directly over the chest with straight arms. Push hard and fast, at least 2 inches deep, at a rate of about 100 to 120 compressions per minute. A helpful rhythm is to think of the beat of a steady march. Do not stop until emergency responders arrive or the person shows signs of life. Even if your compressions are not perfect, they are far better than doing nothing. The role of an AED defibrillator. In many public places, malls, airports, gyms, you'll find a device called an AED or automated external defibrillator. This machine can restart a heart that has gone into a dangerous rhythm. The good news is that AEDs are designed for anyone to use. They give voice instructions step by step. If one is available, send someone to grab it immediately and follow the prompts. If you are at home, you may not have access to an AED, but it's still worth knowing that they exist in public spaces. The importance of staying with a person. If you are helping someone else, never leave them alone. Stay by their side until professionals arrive. If possible, flag down neighbors or bystanders to help. One person can call, another can guide responders to your location, while you perform CPR. A true story of bystander bravery. Consider James, a 68-year-old man who collapsed at his local community center. A fellow member, Sarah, remembered seeing a CPR demonstration once. Though nervous, she began chest compressions while another person called 911. By the time paramedics arrived, James's pulse had returned thanks to her persistence. Later, doctors told Sarah, "Your quick action is the reason James is alive today." This shows that ordinary people, without medical training, can and do save lives with simple, courageous actions. Building the survival mindset. Whether you are the person experiencing the heart attack or the one helping, mindset is everything. Here are the key attitudes to cultivate. Act quickly. Seconds matter more than anything. Don't hesitate. Stay calm. Panic helps no one. Clear thinking keeps oxygen flowing and decisions sharp. Believe that simple steps work. Calling for help, compressions, aspirin, these are not minor acts. They are proven life-saving measures. What happens after help arrives? Once professionals reach you or your loved one, they take over with advanced tools. Oxygen, medications, defibrillators, and rapid transport to the hospital. But everything you did before that moment, recognizing, calling, stabilizing, compressing, set the stage for survival. Preparing yourself and others in advance. The best time to prepare for a heart attack is before it happens. Here are a few actions to take today. Learn CPR. Many communities offer free or low-cost training. Even a short class can give you confidence. Locate AEDs in places you visit often. Talk with your family about what to do if anyone experiences symptoms. Keep aspirin easily accessible at home, and when traveling, practice calm breathing techniques so they come naturally in moments of stress. Final thoughts. We've now walked through the entire journey of surviving a heart attack. Recognize the warning signs. Don't ignore or downplay them. Call emergency services immediately. Time is muscle. Take aspirin and position yourself safely. Conserve your heart's energy. Prepare for collapse. Help yourself if alone, or perform CPR if helping another. Heart attacks are frightening, but they are not always fatal. With quick recognition, immediate action, and the courage to act, survival is possible, and recovery can lead to many more years of life and love.